Good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, October 31st. Happy Halloween. I'm dressed up as me. I don't really do Halloween. Sorry. I got a NASA t-shirt on, so maybe I'm dressed up like a guy who likes NASA, which is also me. Whatever. My daughter's a witch. I don't know. Let me know if you have a football themed Halloween costume in the comments. That'd be kind of cool to share on today's afternoon drive with myself and Smitty, which will be recording at about 5 o'clock. Right now, I want to talk about a question I got in the comments from yesterday's show, which I do fairly frequently. So if you have an idea for a show or something that you want me to talk about, please do not be shy about leaving a comment and saying, "Hey, Alan, why don't you talk about this?" Because it makes my job easier. And I do it all the time. Benjamin, who is a long time reader, commenter, viewer here on the YouTube channel, Ben from Arizona, says he really liked the topic. This was yesterday's show when I talked about how quarterback in the future doesn't really matter because young quarterbacks all stink right now. And he said, might be slower week because of the bye. I heard you say that adjusted net yards per attempt was the holy grail of quarterback stats. Can you expand on that? For instance, is it based on actual throws or just dropbacks, etc.? Thanks so much. So, this is a good question. I've explained before about my sort of stance on analytics and what I like and what I don't like and why PFF is garbage and why I do like certain other stats like DVOA or EPA per play or things like that. EPA per play is actually probably the best way to judge an entire offensive production, which the quarterback is a huge factor in. EPA per play is expected points added, and it's basically you take a look at the number of times in NFL history a team has had the ball first and 10 at the opposing 20-yard line, and how many points those teams scored divided by the number of situations, and you can calculate the expected points of having the ball first and 10 at the 20-yard line. And so then if your play gains you 5 yards and now it's second and 5 at the 15-yard line, we can do the same calculation for second and 5 at the 15-yard line, all the points all those teams scored divided by the number of opportunities, and then compare the two. And you will see how many points were added by those 5 yards that were gained on first down from the 20-yard line to the 15-yard line. And then you will take those are all expected points added, EPA. And then sometimes, of course, they will be negative expected points added, like if you took a 5-yard sack on first down. And then you divide those by the total number of plays, and you have a stat called EPA per play. And it's actually a very good stat for evaluating quarterback's overall impact on an offense. I think that's important, especially when you are attempting to categorize things like, we've talked before about Russell Wilson getting the Steelers lined up, and about quarterback's running ability, right? Justin Fields in the red zone and his ability to pick up first downs, and so there's certainly a place and a time where I think EPA per play is a very good statistic, and one that I will use, even though it is measuring the entirety of the offense. I think it is easy enough to assign that to a quarterback and say, okay, here are here's the quarterback's EPA per play, and there are stats out there that will, or websites out there that will filter that stat for you. I don't think Russell Wilson has played enough to get himself filtered into any of those stats. Justin Fields, last time I checked, was just like a 0.05, like just barely positive. So about 16 to 20, somewhere in that range in the NFL. But if you're talking about passing, to me, there are other stats that you can sort of calculate, success rate, things like that. But for me, even though it is not necessarily the most scientific method of calculating it, and there are probably better ways to calculate it, but adjusted net yards per attempt, or written out NE/A, is basically a way to categorize the passing contributions of the quarterback. So you take the passing yards divided by the passing attempts with a bonus for touchdowns and a penalty for interceptions and sacks. And so it is basically works the same way that passer rating does, except passer rating comes out with a product that is just a number, right? Now, like we kind of understand that 115 passer rating is better than a 70, right? Like we know that. But it's different when you think about it, okay, the adjusted net yards per attempt, the result is in yards, okay? So to me, it provides a better scale for what we're talking about. And Russell Wilson's adjusted net yards per attempt, 2 games, I understand, very small sample. Football lives in small sample world, is off the freaking charts. He has a 9.34 adjusted net yards per attempt, and that is because in his 57 attempts, he has, 57 attempts plus 5 sacks, so 62 non-scramble dropbacks. He has been sacked 5 times and has not been intercepted at all. And so the lack of interceptions really playing in his favor. Also has 3 touchdowns, really playing in his favor. So the formula, is going to add the bonus points for the touchdowns, subtract the penalty points for the sacks and interceptions, divide by the total number of yards, 9.34. That is the best single season mark of Russell Wilson's career by 3 yards, almost. His best season ever in his career is 7.73. So by 2 yards. So 7.73. That was all the way back in 2015. Last year with the Denver Broncos, it was 6.04. 2 years ago with the Denver Broncos, it was 5.54. 9.34. The leader of the entire NFL last year of qualified players, so, people with at least, 150 completions or something like that. 901, Brock Purdy. The year before, the leader, NFL leader in NEA, it was Tua Tagovailoa, 837. The year before, NFL leader in NEA over the course of the season, Aaron Rodgers, 8 flat. Patrick Mahomes, probably the best quarterback in the NFL, maybe the best quarterback in NFL history, depending on how you want to calculate it. His best career adjusted net yard per attempt is 8.89 back in 2018. Right now, it's 5.64. So comparing the value of a touchdown, a sack, and an interception to yardage, the average Russell Wilson dropback has given the Steelers 9.34 yards, and the average Patrick Mahomes dropback has given the Chiefs 5.64 yards. That is an off-the-charts number that probably cannot continue. But I think it does go to show exactly how good Russell Wilson has been for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's good to put that into context. I'm guessing he will not continue to be this good. I did not look at what the NFL all-time record is for a best adjusted net yards per attempt in a season. But if he keeps playing like this, it's going to be close. And I still think he can play better than he is. Like, I think there is more to his game. I think he can throw. Like, think about what it would be if the touchdown pass to George Pickens, the touchdown passes to George Pickens that were overturned in the last game, one by penalty, one by review, had stood. Imagine if Van Jefferson had turned to his right instead of his left into zone coverage. I mean, if he had 3 more touchdowns in that game, it'd be like a 13. I don't know. I didn't run the math, but like, it's really impressive what Russell Wilson has done. He probably won't continue to be that dominant in that statistic, but I think that really is putting it into good context. And why I like the statistic better than something like passer rating is I do like the scale that it compares to, right? Where like we know the yards per play matter. And so I like that. It, of course, is not going to categorize running contributions. It is just as a passer metric. So someone like Justin Fields, it's not going to be as favorable to, right? They are not, it is not going to like Justin Fields as much as it likes Russell Wilson. And of course, it doesn't. Justin Fields is a 5.89 this season, and Justin Fields' career, not particularly. That's actually the best mark in Justin Fields' career as well. His previous best was 5.29 last year. So Justin Fields also playing his best quarterback play in terms of adjusted net yards per attempt, and that's probably something that should be expected from an Arthur Smith offense because efficiency is the thing that they do really well. When they had the big year in 2019 with Ryan Tannehill, he had an 8.52, led the NFL in adjusted net yards per attempt that year. So this is certainly something that we've seen this offense do before, but this is to a level that we have not seen from Russell Wilson or from Justin Fields in that particular stat. I think it's a really good one. If you want to look up how a passer is doing as a passer, I don't think you can really do any better quickly than something like adjusted net yards per attempt. That's why I really like it. Certainly, it still has it's quick math. It's not higher level stuff. You could tweak that to make it much better if you want to count things like intentional grounding penalties or find a way to incorporate scramble yards or things like that. But the way it is formulated right now, I think it is pretty darn good. Any questions about NEA, as I call it, or adjusted net yards for attempts, or anything else about statistics, quarterback play, please leave them here. I love to get to this kind of stuff. I try at least once a week to give some sort of explanatory episode of this show. And as Ben said, the bye week is a good time for it. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of those. And also, so you don't miss an episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive with myself and Zachary Smith. Steelers Sights and Sounds from practice, interviews from the locker room, post-game shows, all here on the YouTube channel. And we'll keep growing. I want to keep doing more and more. So let me know what else you want from the Steelers Now team, what you're not getting that you want. I want more. And so let me know what that more is. And, of course, if you're an audio listener, you can find us Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts as well. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.